Hello students, so practice under corporate law part 2. Compliance. Another branch of corporate law where a lawyer can practice is compliance. This includes being in a law officer or an in-house counsel to a company to ensure there is a compliance of rules by the company and its employees. The lawyers can act as a in-house counsel. In-house counsel act as internal advisors on my right business and legal issues including labor and employment issues, intellectual property issues, contractual issues and liability issues. They have a different role depending on the type of company they are counseling for. Counseling for publicly held compliance companies. So publicly held companies are those which have their shares registered at the stock exchange such as Bombay Stock Exchange. The duty of the corporate lawyer is to be familiar with all the SEBI rules and assist the companies in the matters regarding the issuance of securities as well as detailed reporting requirements. The corporate lawyers also advise publicly held companies with regard to issues such as public disclosure of disappointing financial results and adverse judgment in a litigation matter or the initiation of a government investigation regarding the company.
So, practice areas counseling for privately held companies. So, privately held companies are those in which the stock is limited and is not available to be traded on the public stock exchange. So, the role of the corporate lawyers is to give advice on the formulation and enforcement of contracts, on tax matters, and even on succession issues in which attorneys help plan for the orderly transfer of ownership or management to the next generation of owners. Then there is counseling for business startups and joint ventures. So new business is a typically faces with numerous decisions that includes whether to structure the business as a corporation or to structure it as a partnership or to a limited liability company, a sole proprietorship or even a joint venture. So the role of a corporate lawyer is to work closely with the investment bankers and venture capitalists as to seed money. Then there is corporate litigation. So this encompasses a lot more than just one business suing another. In fact, corporate litigation includes any type of legal proceedings having anything to do with the business or corporation and can include steps taken to avoid litigation as well as actually litigating and managing business disputes. The functions of a lawyer in a corporate litigation includes ensuring compliance with wage and anti-discrimination laws, defending companies against wrongful termination suits, securing compliance with new accounting and corporate governance regulations, litigating or mediating shareholders' derivative lawsuits, managing corporate tax compliance, settling labor disputes with unionized workforces as well as with at will employees and professionals, breach of contract issues, usually with other business, whether defending or prosecuting, tort issues if a customer or client suffers injury from one of your products or services, corporate real estate issues from premises liability to disputes with landlords or regulators. Then there is a tax advocate that can act as an in house counsel and can have a separate practice. A lawyer has a huge role to play in a tax firm, which includes responsibilities such as all legal services in fields of taxation laws, income tax advisors, tax appeals advisors, tax law compliance and returns, tax law documentation, legal advice forum for all matters related to tax, good and services tax compliance, registration services, filling of ITR, return of taxes, litigation services in the field of income tax, GST advice, planning appeals, tax compliance, advice and filling of income tax returns, dual taxation advice, foreign tax advice, foreign exchange management act, compliance of the RBI guidelines for investors, foreign investments. Then intellectual property rights. So this is an emerging field which promises a very huge scope of practice to corporate lawyers. Intellectual property lawyers are professionals that are trained in legislation and regulations that protect individuals' creations from intellectual theft. Basically, the role of lawyers is to deal with everything legal in intellectual property. For industrial property, you might hire an intellectual property lawyer to help you file an application for a patent or trademark, defend your patent or trademark, represent your case before a patent examiner or board, or write a licensing agreement. IP lawyers have to also litigate in matters of intellectual property and represent clients in courts. Some IP lawyers also specialize in particular fields: intellectual property laws, biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, computer engineering, nanotechnology, the internet, and e commerce. Then there is banking and finance. So, a major practice area includes banking and finance, which plays a pivotal role in Indian economy. The areas where a corporate lawyer can practice in banking and finance includes project and leverage finance, debt restructuring, acquisition finance, syndicated lending, and structured products, among others. The type of institution includes public and private sector banks, financial institutions, multinationals, and non banking financial companies. International capital markets. So, the scope of corporate lawyers in international capital markets is very high. They work closely with underwriters, FIIs, banks, venture capitalists, and asset management companies. They routinely advise clients on the aspects of initial public offering, private placements, qualified institutional placements, foreign currency convertible bonds, global demonstratory receipts, and other high value transactions. Then there is private equity and venture capital transactions. Corporate lawyers working in this niche are required to work on a range of services to private equity funds, from funds formation and structuring to advising on primary and secondary investments. The work generally revolves around assisting clients in exits and provide advice on enforcing contractual rights in contentious settlements. Here, the corporate lawyers need to have an in depth understanding of India's unique regulatory landscape and an understanding of Indian promoters and counterparties will behave in different industry sectors. Real estate. A large percentage of corporate lawyers are engaged in the real estate sector. Real estate lawyers advise some of India's largest real estate focused funds and real estate companies in investment, joint ventures, property acquisitions, sales, and leases. The lawyers have to be well versed with a range of real estate structures and have a wide range of experience with handling complex issues in this sector. That's all. Thank you.